Hello everybody, SeKo Starcraft. This is game 3 between hOpe and Hyun. So far we've seen some really fantastic play from both players, and there's just this weird ability for Hyun to just win. Always. Last game, even with the macro advantage that I think hOpe had, and production advantage, Hyun just took some good engagements and managed to get out a couple of armor upgrades that essentially won him the game. I thought it was really good. It was a long game, it was a late game, ZvZ, big roach hydra play. Very strange to see like just mass hydra out of Hyun there, even more than his roaches, because generally you want those roaches to soak up the damage and get on top of the hydras. But in this case we see that Hyun is just the baller he's always been. Now clearly this isn't a cross bonds only version for the game, as these people are going in every different direction. We've seen hOpe go for a hatch or pool first, it doesn't matter. I expect that to be the same. Hyun for going for a pure macro focus and getting that hatch down. It is a little surprising neither of these players have cheesed. Neither of them gone for like a one base Baneling push or just two base Zergling flood. Nothing that crazy out of the ordinary. And I think it would be really interesting to see that. Right? I'd really enjoy watching something like that. Just to throw it out, just to change up what they could expect here in this matchup. Super standard, and they've just relied on their control in the late game and their ability to play better to win. Now these are both amazing players, but if I was hOpe and I lost 2 games that went to the late game based on just simple decision mechanics, do I feel confident enough to be able to do that? And it looks like that is the case. And the very interesting thing we've seen from Hyun is a complete disregard for speed and Banelings. Instead, just macroing into roaches more effectively and being able to just take great wins without having to focus on this really overbearing current metagame, which is you have to essentially, get speed out and get Banelings or you die. Interesting, you see the Overlord path of both these players does go through their naturals first before they move out. I don't know if in ZvZ you'll find too many people hide units or drones or Zerglings, or it might just be a habit that both these players have from playing every other matchup to make sure that you're not getting rushed. But who knows? Pretty straightforward from both players. No big difference in what's going on. You see some small, slight discrepancies in the timings. We had the Zerglings finish a little bit quicker for Hyun. His Overlord has started faster, but we have speed, and that's why we don't have that Overlord started yet for hOpe. And these 2 lings are going to go and scout all the different directions. Seeing this Overlord come across the middle would likely tell you that it's going to be a cross, though this Zergling is going to go check that way. He is going to get a crawler down. We've seen this from all the games. Deciding to not go for any type of Baneling or Zergling numbers. Just scouting the timing of that layer, is just making sure he's not getting cheesed. We've seen that just skipping all that speed has been really interesting for Hyun, because if right now, let's say 30 Zerglings got built up and just hid, and then he flooded them in, could Hyun actually stop that on a map like this? With speed, with some Banelings, and these queens and only 1 crawler, no wall, could hOpe just go and bust through this here? Now he's got to be careful. We've seen Hyun really perfectly, fine to go and snipe these Overlords. I think this one should get away and get to the high ground. Very fast lair, and extra gases on this side here. All the gas is taken and a fast lair. There's no Overlord over here to help with vision. This guy I think is going to get away. Yeah, those guys should probably head home. These Zerglings, he actually ran in a lot of Zerglings here to make sure he gets a scout. If he gets a drone kill, actually he does get a drone kill, not bad. Almost got a second. He sees all the gas, he sees the lair. That should make him pretty sure of what's coming at him here. That it would likely be some sort of spire play. That's the only thing I can think. You want to get that spire out as soon as possible because that's when you have the maximum opportunity to catch your opponent off guard. If you delay it too long, Hyun could invest all of his resources into roaches and come across and stomp you. Therefore, we have that spire. Now it's down to Hope to get that out fast enough to make sure... Oh, poked in the face. To make sure that he can't actually die to just some sort of retaliation. Good wall off here from Hyun. Good creep spread. He just wants to get down his macro right now. He knows what that timing of that spire should be, and he's not panicking at all. At this point, if I was playing this game, I'd already have like 6 spore crawlers down, just in complete panic defense. And that is not the way to do it. It's an overinvestment of your drones and your resources when it doesn't necessarily serve any good to you. Very similar third base timings. We'll see with these Zerglings if they'll be able to get some damage in. They shouldn't be able to deny this base, but we haven't seen any roaches produced yet at all from Hyun. Spire's going to finish up pretty quick. The lair for Hyun is just now getting into place. There's a couple of roaches here. He should be able to keep that alive. Let's just see. There's enough for just about 8 mutas when this thing pops here. He doesn't have the minerals, though, actually. He's got the gas he needs. He's got 5 mutas on the way. Handful of lings get through. Really just more of a scout. Hydra Den is on the way. It's going to be a little ways behind to be able to defend against these mutas. He's got a lot of queens, and obviously queens are tanky and have transfuse. But this is where if you came in with, once again, a good chunk of lings, you might be able to do a good surround over to these units, and then use the spine, sorry, use the mutas to be able to shoot down any of the other stuff that's going on. Such aggressive creep spread from Hyun here. Mutas are out, they're going to start hitting down overlords. Now, where is Hyun going with these queens here? Those queens will just get intercepted and killed. This is very, very interesting to see him push this far out into the middle of the map without having his hydras in tow yet. Guess they're pretty quick to get done. No spores at home, which is, I think, really, really crazy. Mutas can kill everything so fast, and a couple of spores shut down mutas so hard. It's very surprising. Well, let's just see if this gets a little base tradey here. It actually could. Lots of roaches already in place for Hope, though. He got his 1-1 finish, as his opponent is on 0-0 with +1 about to finish. Hydras are now in place. Let's just see what happens here. The creep isn't quite connected, and the speed isn't finished for Hyun, so his reinforcements are going to be quite delayed. It's interesting he's pushing into the natural here. This is kind of into the belly of the beast a little bit. Good transfusions down, trying to keep some of his units alive longer. Workers are going to come off the line in order to hold this. As I say, yeah, don't move forward there, Hyun. Your reinforcements are coming. Just back up and wait for them. Most of the mutas have been taken out by the Hydralisks, which is very important. That was a very big investment for Hope into those Mutalisks, and they've not paid off at all. Looks like he will finally get this cleaned up. There's no speed for the Hydras, so they're going to get focused down. Roaches now finally have speed in place. +2 is a little bit ahead here for Hope, which is pretty good. Now, did Hyun get accomplished what he needed to with that attack? He didn't get really much economic damage. He killed a few drones, I believe. Killed 7. He didn't kill a base. What's over here? His Hydra Den. He did kill off all the mutas, which in itself was pretty cool. Snipes queen. Might as well. Get home, queen. Worried about any type of burrow play. He doesn't know if burrow could be a part of this attack. Now, this position is where Hope has come into some really big trouble in this matchup against Hyun, is where he pushes out with a bunch of roaches, gets countered really hard, and then just gets swarmed on top of. And it's interesting watching pros play this matchup, because in an amateur sense, you'd already be seeing like mass Zergling run-bys and infestors coming out trying to get fungals, like this is still Wings of Liberty. And instead we just see what is very standard right now, which is just a mass commitment into Roach Hydra with good upgrades. See a slight lead for Hope, but once again he's completely neglected any of his armor. Now I would like to see Hyun use that second Evo chamber and get that armor down. It has given him such amazing advantages in his other fights when he's been trading on very even footing when it comes to numbers, or even behind in numbers, as we see Hope pulling ahead once again in the actual amount of attackers. Hyun looks like he's a little bit comfortable to go and test his might. Then he sees what's coming at him and he disagrees with that original assumption. This queen might get sniped here. They're so bumbling sometimes, like it's ridiculous. So some of these units are just like, oh, come with my army, and then just die hopelessly. No fourth base yet, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see neither of these players focus on that for another little while, focusing more on getting a better army. This is a really good concave here for Hope, and he's almost maxed out. It always surprises me how good Hope is here at macroing out these huge armies against Hyun. His upgrades, he does have an advantage with +2 attack finished. Hyun's is still a little ways off. 30 seconds, in fact. It will not be done in time to help him here. This one spine crawler is going to get toasted. The worker's going to get toasted as well. I think Hope might actually have what he needs to in this game finally to be able to take a win. Gets right on top of the army. +2 attack Hydras in the back, crushing through everything. Finally, +2's finished for Hyun, but it's quite a bit too late. Hydra versus Hydra line. Upgrades are essentially the same because there's that +1 defense. Now, looks like Hyun is kind of stabilizing, but yeah, he has to remake a ton of drones now, whereas his opponent is now finally going to take another base and can focus exclusively on getting up his army account right now. Let's look at the actual units. What are these guys doing for economy? Pretty good size lead for Hope, but that's about to be evened out again. Now, there was that ace in the hole for Hyun last game with the upgrades, and he doesn't have it this time. He's got a big pile of gas. So I would encourage him to be able to get that upgrade as to use some sort of advantage here. He must know he's quite a ways behind. This is something else he did on another game to be able to get a little ahead. Small roach run-bys into the mineral lines. If you don't time this with your army, sometimes those can just be throwaways though. It's nice to do that when you can do it on multiple areas. The Overlord spread from Hope lets him see that this is coming. He'll shut that down. Or is he gonna be able? He is gonna intercept too. Nice little play. Get the kills you can. There's the +2 defense finally on this side. +1 armor for Hope. I don't think he's going to need it in this game. I think he's just going to be able to blast his way through. But I'm glad that he realizes that, hey, this whole time I've not been able to win essentially because of my upgrade counts. An infestation pit starting probably to be able to get his next level of upgrades as well. I think Hyun botched that slightly, gave up a bit of a position, just moved a little bit too far away. Just letting himself get surrounded too easily here. Some more roaches in production, but they're going to pop out too few of a numbers to really mash up with this. I think Hope's finally going to be able to at least shut this third base down. Then yeah, there's the GG. So, Hope does take a game. It is 2-1 now for Hyun. We're moving on to game number 4.